part of the population that people want to reach, and a growing part, is Gen Z and millennials. And they're going to make up, what, 30% of the population by 2026. They are people who want to work with companies that do good. They want to buy from companies that do good, and half of them will not go to companies that don't do good. And this is stuff that's been studied by, the Manchester Business School, University of Arkansas. And so it's very interesting. It's also interesting. They would much rather be pitched to by a social influencer than an advert. So social influencers reach desired audiences. And so you then have to think, well, from the viewpoint of the desired audience, what's the best way to reach them? So if I'm looking at these younger folk, Gen Z, even Gen Alpha, they're on TikTok. They're not watching ABC programming. They're not reading the New York Times, whereas baby boomers are. They also have a limited attention span because they've grown up with social media. The average attention span, allegedly, from studies, these McKinsey studies, is 8 seconds. Millennials, 12, maybe a little longer where we are because we've been around a bit, but it's very, very small. And what you're trying to do is you're not trying to convince someone, you're trying to start a conversation. You're trying to get
a little
number
horrifying,
of impressions.
that data. That data is a little horrifying, but
it is horrifying.
Unexpected, I guess.
If I broadened it and said, do they get engaged? Are they involved? Do they vote? You'd have much better answers. But just to get to them initially, to kind of hook them into the subject, you have to go where the attention span is. And so precise messaging is very important. So you need a call to action with the messaging, and you have to decide who your audience is. And if you're dealing with, say, the Cuban community in Miami versus the Mexican community in, say, San Diego, it's very different. You communicate, language might be the same, but the culture is very different. So you have to find the right influencers for the right, to deliver the message, basically. And there can be significant benefits from doing that. So, for example, there's a lot of research out of Harvard where athletes are spokespeople for Nike and other companies, where you see over a period of time, not just as the 1 week, but revenues rising by around 4% when they do these endorsements, and about a quarter of a point increase in stock prices. So there are definitely examples, even free, like Michelle Obama, when she was the first lady, she was kind of the fashionista. There's another study which talked about $2.9 billion worth of value being added to 29 different companies. So there's a lot going on. On the downside, if you have somebody who turns against you, and we'll talk about why we always have a cohort of influencers as our suggestion later, that can also be a problem. So Kylie Jenner tweeted that she wasn't using Snapchat anymore. Within hours, the stock had gone down 6%, and 1.3 billion's worth of value had gone off, that stayed off for a long time. So dealing with influencers in a respectful and not commoditizing them is an important thing as well, I think.